Hello and welcome to grinding meeting number 41, Alien Visitation and Recreational Fiction. There was a time where I was a bit less, skeptical. Not that I don't even like using that word anymore. I was more it was easier for me to believe things were true that I wanted to be true, whatever you would call that. But I still love the genre, and I am going to be presenting a model. It's a fictional model, but it kind of ties up a lot of the alien visitation stuff. And I will get a few things straight first, but when I do actually start spinning my yarn, I will be putting on a tinfoil hat. Seems appropriate. So I should get my actual opinion out of the way first. So I should remove the hat. And I should do a sound check just to make sure you're not... Yep, I have sound. So, to be clear, I do not believe that biological beings from another world are visiting us. I don't think that anything conscious has flown our way and landed on our planet. There's a number of reasons I don't think that's the case. First of all, has to do with the speed limit of the universe, and that is the speed of light. The speed of light isn't the speed of light. The speed of light is the speed limit for information in the universe and how fast it can propagate. And the only thing that can reach that limit is something without mass, which is light. And even if you were somehow able to get something with mass to the speed of light, you're frozen. You don't experience time when you're traveling at the speed of light, which could be a problem for steering your ship. Now, you can introduce a number of sci-fi technologies to get around this, but there are some hard physics in the universe that there is no getting around. You know, one of those that the universe doesn't contain enough energy to get something with a significant amount of mass to the speed of light, like a ship. And even if you could get a ship up to, near the speed of light, the problem is that the distances you're traveling now, space is very, 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 very empty. But if you're traveling through, tens, hundreds of light years of it, you will inevitably run into something. And the problem of traveling at that speed is that a speck of dust hits the hull of your ship like a nuke. For these and many other reasons, the idea of some kind of biological being flying a ship across the galaxy is incredibly unrealistic, regardless of your level of technology. You have to introduce some kind of weird wormhole or hyperspace or things that don't actually exist to make that work. Now, I love the genre. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be the killer of dreams, as I've sometimes been called, talking to friends who love sci-fi. It's like, I still love sci-fi, but it is fiction. And I love sci-fi so much that I'm going to lay out my own model for why... Wait. There we go. We've been visited by aliens. Okay, get rid of that. Oh, let me check something here real quick. Okay, that's still not cool. I suppose I can get into it. I'm going to go ahead and put the tinfoil hat on. Okay. So this will be an explanation of how... why so many alien craft crashed in the past, but don't seem to be crashing anymore, and why they're so different from anything else here. First, you have to start off, and remember, I have the hat on, It has to do with physics and the 3 levels of physics. You could call the 3 levels the quantum realm, which is the super tiny. The macro realm, which is, us, planets maybe, and then the cosmic. And there is an idea that there's a mind over matter element that gets applied to quantum mechanics that isn't quite appropriate, but, and remember I have the hat on, it works in a different way than is understood. People believe that simply by perceiving something, you alter the outcome. This is not the case. But in a local macro environment of planet Earth and the conscious beings here, people like Maxwell and Einstein and some really, Feynman, they were not so much discovering things as they were painting in how they would manifest in our local environment. Now, again, I said there are 3 levels, and the mind does not have any impact on what's happening at the quantum, and the mind has no effect on what happens at the cosmic level. Now, the cosmic level stuff would be like the speed limit of information in the universe, mass, relativistic stuff, like the big stuff. And that is uniform throughout the universe, as is the quantum. But as soon as, and remember I have the tinfoil hat on, as soon as humans started to become aware of these things, it changed how they manifest in our local macro environment. It's not that you have mind over matter, it's that some systems don't operate the same when they're under observation, whether that's a human or a machine. And this is very important because on the macro level, physics works differently on planet Earth than other places. Not the fundamental stuff, not the really, not the macro, not the cosmic, but basically how our technology manifests to allow us to do things. And there is a bubble around the Earth where we don't notice it because it's all normal to us. But after some nukes went off, we got the attention of, let's call them galactic tourists or adventurers. And some people, either just passing through the area, decided to take a little detour and check out what was going on over here. Unfortunately, when they got close enough and entered our bubble, their technology stopped working properly, and they often crashed on the planet. And this is how you got so many crashes in the past. And eventually, not too long a time, in a matter of decades, they studied us because there is this bubble of reality that functions different than the rest of the universe on the macro level. And this is why any encounters with aliens will be very weird, because they can't exist in our bubble. They have to bring around a little bubble of their macro reality. And as soon as we get pulled into theirs, it's an incredibly disorienting experience. And this would be the reason, again, remember, I'm wearing the tinfoil hat. This would be why alien-human hybrids would be useful, in that they could operate equally well in both macro, both manifestations of macro physics. And eventually, they got so good at what they're doing that they can just zip around and do basically whatever they want at will. They can manipulate our technology. They can be seen when they want to be seen and not see. They can even understand our technology. This has been an advancement. Some of the more recent stuff with, military planes tracking objects through multiple devices from multiple sources on the same target. And the targets seem to be behaving in such a way that they know that they are being observed. That is my fictional explanation. Now, I'm going to take the tinfoil hat off here again and say, while I don't believe that we're being visited by biological entities in ships, it is possible that some probes have made their way here. Basically, we send probes out. Our probes are obviously fairly primitive, but it's reasonable to extrapolate that to other more advanced societies out there, and that they might spread probes around all over the place. And some of what we have encountered could be probes. It could also be, I'm not sure if I should put the tinfoil hat on for this one. I'll put it on just in case. That when they talk about, dimensions past, the length, width, depth, and time, which is, generally considered to be the fourth dimension. Because if you want to know where something's at, you gotta know the three physical dimensions and what time it is, because if it's moving, it will be in different places at different times. So time is basically the fourth dimension. And they start talking about all these other dimensions, and they use the analogy of like a being that lived in a two-dimensional world. A three-dimensional object passing through his world would appear out of nowhere, change shape, and then disappear just as strangely as it appeared. And that extrapolation means that it could be the case that a different kind of probe from actually outside this universe could be peering in like a microscope, or something along those lines. And the difference is with these things, they could manifest in ways, since they're not really here, they wouldn't really have to obey the laws of this universe. Boy, am I getting through this a lot faster than I thought. That's a bit of a stretch. Don't actually think that's the case. I think the vast majority... Oh, there we go. That's off. I think the vast majority of what's seen is most likely technology developed by the U.S. government, and their sudden lack of inhibition in talking about UFO stuff seems almost more useful as a smokescreen. Oh, and by the way, I'm in Elite Dangerous. I figured I'd park outside Earth. When I first got, the Earth has turned a little bit. I didn't mean to be half over the ocean, but it does rotate. But one thing, man, when you're actually flying around the Earth looking at it, Africa is freaking huge. And you can see, we're actually seeing like Spain's kind of in the middle there, and up top you can see like the UK. But Africa's freaking huge when you're looking at it from orbit. Excuse me for 1 second. That mute button does not want to toggle effectively. I think it's a fun topic. I think the idea that there's more in general is a healthy place to take your mind, as long as you don't go too far. Because obviously we don't know everything, obviously. And when you're really quick to just rule things out, and I have to say, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson was really, really disappointing his last appearance on Joe Rogan. Because, he equated, you know, fighter pilots who've never had any history with anything paranormal using modern technology to track an object doing things that nothing that is supposed to exist can do, and being tracked by multiple sources, you know, some of the best technology we have for tracking objects trained on them. And he basically equated it to a redneck seeing something, you know, out the side of his pickup truck, and it was just so dismissive, kind of really disappointing. And then you get on the other side of some freaking nut like Michio Kaku, and that guy, I've I, I probably shouldn't get started on this, but there's a point where when you've had fame, you really want it back again, and your ability to be skeptical when it comes to things that might get you back in the limelight, it's a phenomenon you see a lot on YouTube, where, you know, shouldn't talk about him. No, I'm not going there. But yeah, it's been something that's repeated over and over again, where someone will almost do a 180-degree flip on what they think because this is the new thing and they're gonna get back in the game. Okay, I'm a bit off topic here. By the way, sci-fi series I love. Stargate, really good. X-Files was amazing at the time. Tried to rewatch it. It doesn't work. And it's amazing what keeps working and what doesn't. Like, I thought Buffy the Vampire Slayer would be good to watch again. No, it is not. Watched Independence Day recently. Oh, it holds up. I still think that's a great movie. I'm sure I'm in the minority here, but it's just really well done. Really likable characters. I think that's the thing missing from a lot of modern stuff these days, is just investment in the characters and having the characters be real. I think you hit a point where there's so few people having the kind of experiences that help them develop that, like, they don't have anything to draw upon when they're acting. They're supposed to be playing these characters going through these dramatic things, but they don't have the life experience to draw upon to summon the proper mindset to show that as a character. Fucking moth just landed right on my mic. But there's good sci-fi out there, and I think it's good for the mind. And it also, the great thing about sci-fi is it lets you detach, because, like, with political stuff, as soon as someone gets a hint that your story might be pushing one political agenda or another, suddenly people shut down. But in sci-fi, you can abstract it enough, and just the elements that you want to explore. Next Generation did this really well. Deep Space Nine did it well. Even Voyager to some degree. And Enterprise, I guess, was okay. And I haven't watched any of the new ones because they look horrible. Started watching the Lower Decks. That wasn't too bad. And from what I hear, the Orville took a weird turn in the second season and stopped trying to be a comedy. This is why I wait for 3 seasons. I seem to be just rambling at this point, and I got out my model. So I'm going to call the stream a little bit early. And you know what I could do? Do a little flying around. Maybe head to the moon.
Frameshift drive charging.
This is a great game, by the way.
4, 3,
That's a little too loud.
1. Engage.
There's Europe. Greenland and Iceland. Or the polar cap. I'm like, oh my god, there's a ship out there. And I'm like, oh, that's the Moth. It went over and landed on my screen instead. Where is the moon? Oh. I'm already up to 1/10 the speed of light. Like, you'd think the speed of light is fast. Not that fast. Just tooling around the solar system. Yeah, you know, I could do a little experiment. See how long it takes to get to Jupiter. I get aimed at it, I'll get it to the speed of light, and I'll just stay at the speed of light, and it'll give you a projection of how long it'll take. Oh, it's on the other side of the sun. That sucks. The gravity well of the sun, like, slows you down. Why does it look like it's between me and the sun? That can't be the case. Okay. You see the, down around the disk, you see 0.341, 0.4, 0.5. That's, and that's of C, which is the speed of light. So, this... Oh, wait, let's... Oh, too slow, too slow. But just over the speed of light, it's still going to be... It's like an hour away at the speed of light. 50 minutes. Yeah, the speed of light is not all that. And even if I go up to, like, full speed... 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the speed of light... 12, 15... Oh, that's not good. Sorry. Little graphics card driver reload. I'm currently at 16 times the speed of light. It's going to take me 3 minutes to get there. One nice thing about this game is it really gets you a feel for how far things are away from each other, like how long it takes. Like, this game would be unplayable, even with the ability to jump to different systems. If your top speed was like the speed of light, it would take forever to get around solar systems. Now, you can get up to like 500, 800 times the speed of light, but whenever you're near a gravity well, it limits you. Now that we're getting further away from the sun, we got some speed, 34 times the speed of light. Yeah, there's the distance there for the 1400 is in light seconds, and the time below that is how long it would take to get to target at that speed. Of course, you got to slow down. If you don't slow down soon enough, it can get ugly. Now, Jupiter has a lot of moons. Each of those rings is one of the moons. Yeah, even this close, 30 seconds it would take this light to travel. Now 20. You know what? Let's approach it from the side of the sun. Get a better view. Now, you forget with the astronomy pictures, like, you know, there's no point in posting a picture where it's, like, not lit up. That's a little better. The rings aren't very well illuminated right now. When the rings are, like, you know, more or less edge on with the sun, they basically turn invisible. And there is Io. Huh. I suppose I can drop in the rings. Is that the big red dot? I don't think that is. I think it's elsewhere. I think that's good enough. Demonstrated my point. This is Jupiter, and I am the Expert Layman. This has been Grinding Meeting number 40, Alien Visitation and Recreational Fiction. You all have a great day.